Alright. Greetings, patriots. Greetings, my friends. And greetings, you deep state slime we're cleaning out. So, I'm going to make another video exposing another targeting campaign that occurred against me. This is referring to what many know as gang stalking, unconstitutional harassment, usually of some sort of whistleblower or activist. Okay, look it up if you don't believe me. So, I got a cigarette. You guys see that? Come home one day, I look, I'm like, why does my water look all off? I mean, yeah, somebody put, now this is, I was gone, come back, cigarette in my gallon. Interesting, right? Well, this ain't the first time. I go to my room, my door was shut, smell the faint smell of cigarettes. Deep state slime. Treasonous bastards. So, you guys tell me. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm sorry, I might edit it, I might not. I don't know. I really just want to upload this. So you guys just have to be patient. Cigarette. Cancer stick. Not mine. I do not smoke cigarette. I don't know why I have an accent. I don't even know what accent it is. There it is. Right? So I look over on my counter. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to ash this cigarette in my water. In my house. While I'm gone. Okay. Open the door to my room. Not super strong. Faint smell of cigarette smoke. Just enough. This is not the first time they've used this tactic. Not the first time they've used this tactic. Maybe the last, but it's not the first time they've used it. I also have pictures in my group, Gangstalking Justice, on Facebook, that shows a picture of a shirt, a new shirt that I had, with a burn hole in it. I returned home one night. I don't know the date off the top of my head, but it's documented. Okay. I walk in and smell nothing but cigarettes. Okay? Very strong. Alright? And then I put on my new shirt, and there's a cigarette burn hole in it. Coincidentally, it's right after the song I released, called Deep State Ship Sinking. I said the smoke is clear. U.S. military coming from everywhere. Deep state slime, they don't like that. See, what they like is to have a sociopathic power trip, exert power over people, eroding their freedoms and sovereignty, and they do their best to justify it by putting us in fear, frustration, and to build whack cases, sort of like Trump's, against him, what they're doing to Trump. And, that's the story. I've already said this before, but let's make it official again. I refused CIA recruitment in 2010, where they tried to backward recruit me into the CIA. I didn't. I wasn't going for it. I could feel the energy of the whole group. Nasty. And as you unveil things, you understand that the CIA has been nothing but a domestic terrorist group for the most part, for a good amount of evil deeds. Not everyone in the CIA are terrible people. I want to highlight that for sure. But what I am saying is the organization has been used to do some of the most atrocious things, including now declassified Project Northwoods. They wanted John F. Kennedy to roll a plan out that would blow up a plane or a boat real people, mind you, and we would blame it on Castro. They wanted to invade him. That's domestic terrorism. And they've been doing these kind of things for years. So I made this video for the chief of police, for the police department, for patriots, for my comrades, and for the deep state slime, to let you know, no, patriots, we're not just going to let you invade the country, because that's what you are. You're an invading enemy combatant. You do not honor our country. You do not honor our Constitution. You do not honor our way of life. You are countryless. Why do they want Trump out so bad? What does he know? Why was he friends with JFK Jr.? Why did they take out his father? What was going on? These are things you need to come and study. Because once you really bring up your awareness, things get real easy to figure out. I'm going to highlight one more thing. I'm overdue on laundry. I usually do it at a family's house. I don't like doing it at the apartment laundry. I don't like to be around these perps. I hardly even trust leaving my laundry there. And then I don't even trust leaving my home to stay there with my laundry. But I'm a little overdue. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe go in camo here. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, too much information. I don't give a fuck, because this stuff has to be exposed. So, I'm going outside, and two girls just happen to say something. And there was a lady with a basket of laundry, and then there was me. And they said something along the lines of, "You dirty bitch, change your drawers," or something of that nature. Naming dirty bitch, linking with laundry. What are the odds, mathematically? I don't know, you tell me. Maybe if that happened once in a blue moon, that's a fluke. But you find out when you're a targeted individual, this is the communication and the way they communicate indirectly with doublespeak, because they're criminals. They can't directly, obviously, attack whistleblowers and patriots in these unconstitutional networks. It'd be a lot easier to bring them to light, wouldn't it? It doesn't matter. It's still going to happen. Trump will not be impeached. This unconstitutional group of networks and societies and intelligence communities gone rogue, they will pay the penalty for becoming enemy combatants of the United States of America and U.S. sovereignty. Not only is it not cool to spy on Trump's campaign, it's not cool to spy on Americans, man. It's not cool. And if you're going to do it, well, patriots going to spy on you and we'll go get you. Well, that's what's happening. You'll see. The best is yet to come, as POTUS always reminds us patriots, military, and country folk. So, to keep this video short, around 10 minutes. Cigarette smoke in my room again. Faint, not as strong. I guess I appreciate that. I guess they love me a little more. Before it was really strong and terrible. Cigarette, ashed out in my water. I don't know, add it up. I don't smoke cigarettes. Can't stand the smell of them. One person proposed, maybe it's another apartment, maybe it's leaking through. You think after 3 years I would kind of know that, right? But that's bullshit. That's not what happened. It's not. Plus, the guy next to me, the apartment next to my room, don't smoke cigarettes. I've never seen him smoke a thing. Might see him tomorrow now smoking, huh? That's when you really realize the game. When they isolate a target and they go at them, they don't go at groups. They will not take a group of patriots on. They're cowards. So they try to get away with their crime by isolating and using, and this is the intelligence behind operations, they use people in the street. They use their minions. They use their perps, as a lot of us in the field use the term perps, perpetrators, which are those utilized inorganically around you to affect and mind control psychological operations backed by dark corporations and projects that are unconstitutional. This occurs. If you guys have doubt, research Kevin Shipp, Shipp, Kevin Shipp, former CIA officer, turned whistleblower and patriot when he really got to see what was going on some levels. He went out and spoke about it and did what any true American freedom-loving, God-loving person should do. What happened to Kevin Shipp? Well, this is all court case documented. His apartment was raided. His apartment was laced with some very nasty elements. And his folks got a little bit sick. They're okay. He went to court. He did the right moves. He proved the compound was in, that whatever the poisonous element was in there. He had the right test done. He went to court. Like I said, it's documented. So, former CIA, you could be in the CIA already, right? And if you decide to maybe air something out that you don't feel is right, let's just say they don't treat whistleblowers too well. They're not going to hand you a whistle to blow on. As a matter of fact, they might try to take your whistle. But if you have God and you have a strong heart and you have a strong moral ground, that whistle will keep blowing, as any patriot should, to save our country's freedom. In a day and age where electronics are accessible, if not having the proper oversight, there's no privacy, folks. I mean, the things you think you know, like, okay, they see through the camera, they can hear through the microphone, those are the basics. There's more. And I'm not the tech analyst to go into that. That's TMC on Patriot Soapbox Live when he does Hyperdrive with Thumper and when he does his own show. Sometimes I think it's at 1, 12 or 1. I forget which day of the week, but TMC, very good guy. Patriot Soapbox Live, very good group to go to empower any patriots or to inform anyone that's not really knowing what's really taking place. Also, Patriot Hour with Michael, great patriot, served our U.S. Navy, and I salute him as well as all the others. We're in this together. We know the war is going on. It's more of a spiritual, ideological, psychological one, but nonetheless, it is covert warfare. Psychological warfare is warfare. And since my team's winning and will win, what do you think happens, man, when the highest crime is committed? Why is treason the highest crime? Because if you undermine what this country is and stands for on its foundation, and you have elements like termites eroding it, you don't have a country. You don't have true law and order. You don't have true justice, man. Hence, Epstein Island and how all these big criminals have been getting away with the most horrific things, man. That's what it is. Now the hatred for Trump comes in like JFK 2.0. The plan will be finished. The central bank will be finished. The deep state will be finished. And any dark remnant networks that undermine our Constitution and freedom will be finished. I pray this in the Holy Spirit. I feel it in the Holy Spirit. Alright, so just to recap, today, cigarette smoke in my house, cigarette found ashed in my gallon of water. Which it's not even like I need the cigarette, right? Like I have a nose, right? Overdue on laundry, go outside, and just by coincidence, a couple girls are talking about a dirty bitch with dirty laundry. Well, guess who's really got the dirty laundry, folks? High, treasonous, criminal actors. Bad actors. There you go. So, continue to fight. Research Kevin Shipp. Research what he's gone through. He's got a great YouTube channel, and the Company of Shadows is his Facebook group. He's written great books. He's done great interviews. He does great things on his own YouTube channel, and we need to support each other. We need to unite. These criminals, one thing they got going on, they were pretty damn organized. Now it's time we keep out organizing them and building our light community for the Constitution, for freedom, for sovereignty, for love of country, for love of humanity for that matter. We've all seen the whack wars. Why? Who's starting them? What's the real agenda? Alex Jones scrubbed off the internet. Well, if he's crazy, what's the big deal? Well, there's a lot of truth kernels. The NAU, North American Union. Yes, there are plans to form that. Why do you think the border is meaningless to them? They're trying to destabilize what vestige of freedom is left for conquering the rest of the countries that stand against the central international bankster elite cabal. Now, if you don't think a cabal exists, I got a question for you. Who owns and runs the Federal Reserve Bank that lends money to your government that you vote for? That's part of the cabal. What did JFK do against the bankster elite international cabal? Starting right here. He passed a bill that allowed us in Congress, in which the people we elect can now print the money for the people, by the people, with no interest rates to perpetually indebt them into slavery. And of course, there were some other things he did, right? He really rocked that boat. Now we're going to sink it. The deep state ship is sinking. I don't know who would want to be on that ship. But hey, we all make our choices, huh? Alright, love and light. You know it's Too True. I do my Patriot music if you ever want to check it out on my Too True channel. Number 2 TRU, which if you're watching this there, then you're already here, so check it out. Alright, love and light. And I'm going to be speaking to the Chief of Police of Nashville, Illinois, when divinely cued, right? And I've already spoke to the police department and gave them paperwork on these activities. I gave them a little paperwork. Guess what I'm getting ready to give them? Let me find this shit. Give me a second. Sorry about that. Give me a second. I'm a little disorganized for a second. I remember I was on this paperwork. Anyway, if I don't find it in this quick second, here it is. Okay. I've already submitted some paperwork. Yeah, it's going to go 20 minutes. Who cares? I've read this on one of my videos. This is some basics they have. What is gang stalking? Illegal harassment. Criminal activity consistent of the repeated following and harassing of another person. It is a distinctive form of criminal activity composed of serious actions. If you take them individually, it could be legal behavior, right? But when these actions are coupled with an intent to instill fear or injury, be that noise, be that interactions in public that aren't natural. When these actions are coupled with an intent to instill fear or injury, however, they may constitute a pattern of behavior that is illegal. No, it is illegal. It may not. It does constitute, especially under this post, right? And gang stalking is a RICO crime. So when it comes down, we're not just going to get these little perps in the street. They're like blind foot soldiers for the shredder, right? We're going to get the bosses. And that's what we've been doing. We've already seen a few of them drop. So it's a hate crime. And under the United States Constitution, 18 Section 241, this is an offense punishable by a fine and up to 10 years of imprisonment. But if the conspiracy leads to a loss of life or premeditated murder, they could be dealt with life imprisonment. They can be dealt with even the death penalty. Now, I imagine it really depends on that scale you're on, right? It really does. We do want to free our people, but there is a fine line. And, pacifying this behavior, which could destroy us in the future, and freedom and sovereignty, and just saying this, see, don't do it again. This needs to be acknowledged and enforced. It relates to criminal, vigilante stalking, gang stalking, community stalking, cause stalking, and any other similar form of stalking. Okay, we must get legislation written to address this. Of course. All right, so they have that. And I've talked to a couple cops. They're reviewing it. Oh, man, but get ready for this. And I have my official complaint against the apartment management. This guy quit shortly after I gave him this. Interesting, right? He was former military. I invoked his oath, and I started telling him what was occurring here. He's no longer here. He didn't want to deal with it, but I would be happier with him doing that than actually participating in it if he was even thinking about it. I'm not going to read it, but it's basically just apartment 23, a noise harassment going on from said neighbors above, slamming the front door, punching on their walls, hitting other walls with items, also placing items on my front door mat, noise harassment, etc. Blah, 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 blah. Now, what I'm getting ready to drop. 30 pages, son. Ooh, 30 pages, bro. 30 pages. Organized gang stalking. What you need to know. Community-based harassment and covert war are essentially harassment and discrediting campaigns waged against a targeted individual citizen. And neighbors can be recruited to participate, often from extremist groups and cults, but also from among employees. Coordinated psychological warfare attacks consisting of stalkings, noise campaigns, sensitizing, and the spreading of lies and rumors are executed in an effort to virtually neutralize and destroy the victim using people from all backgrounds, locations to harass, track 24/7. Electronic harassment, home invasions, property destruction, corrupt or ignorant doctor diagnoses, blah, 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 blah. Everything is done covertly and with a sophisticated real-time dispatching system to organize the criminals' harassment and attacks. Often in the hundreds to thousands of criminals participating as a coordinated mob at any given time. Well, there are often in the hundreds and thousands of criminals participating as a coordinated mob at any given time while the criminals do their normal routines of work, shopping, commuting, to and from work, leisure, etc. Using the method of moving foot and vehicular surveillance techniques in computers, cell phones, verbal and visual cues, and every other conceivable type of communication, right? That isn't so straightforward and right in your face. That's a coward. Okay, let's see. Often the local network of this mob. Let me face the camera. I feel like it'd be better. Often the local network of this mob is connected to a national and international network. When the target travels, the local network will follow the target to the next city or town. When the target arrives there, the networking that location will stalk, follow, and harass the target in that city or town. Organized gang stalking, also known as community harassment, community stalking, is a systematic form of control which seeks to destroy every aspect of a target individual's life. And I'll add, excuse me, I just ate. I'll add that they also use this program to recruit others to carry on their agendas, right? Using once a target is flagged, a notification is sent out and the target is followed around 24/7 by various communities that they are in. This process is covertly designed to destroy the target over time, attempting to leave them with no form of support. Since most civil workers are aware of this notification system, it means that the targets reporting incidents of being followed around by various strangers should have not been unfamiliar to the police and other agencies that targets reported their harassment to. In most cities, this notification is well known and used by many workers and employers. Yet targeted individuals, look at that Trump stuff. Targeted individuals have had at time. Okay, organized gang stalking is experienced by targeted individuals as psychological attacks that is capable of immobilizing and destroying them over time. We're out some dirty laundry, aren't we? Treason. The covert methods used to harass, persecute, and falsely defame the targets often leave no evidence to incriminate the civilian spies. Well, they try, but we have the comms. It's similar to workplace mobbing, but takes place outside the community, and I'll add anywhere. Not for long. We're at 25 minutes, but The truth is the truth, and we're going to roll to the Lord's like, you're good, until my heart feels that, if that's better for some of you. Is organized gang stalking illegal? Yes! Despite what the leaders or members of stalking and harassment groups want you to believe, all forms of stalking are illegal. I'm going to read that one more time. Is organized stalking illegal? Yes! Despite what the leaders or members of the stalking and harassment groups say or believe, all forms of stalking, harassment are illegal. And I'll add psyops and psychological warfare programs. The goal of organized gang stalking. The express goal of organized gang stalking is to silence a victim, drive a victim insane, possibly to the point of suicide, or destroy the victim's reputation and believability, as the person will likely be viewed as mentally ill should they complain or report the abuse. What did me and Officer B talk about recently? Just yesterday. One thing he said, Joseph, what do you do if people try to say you're crazy? Okay. I'm not going to sit around and go, what do they think? A patriot don't even form his objectives like that. A patriot doesn't even have that. You know what I mean? Because that's why we study things. That's why we study the 9/11 event. That's why we know math. 2 planes can't knock 3 towers down. If you want to get technical, 2 flames can't knock the 2 steel beam of towers down. I digress. You just have to study. Do stalkers ever question or check to see if a targeted victim is even guilty of what the claim is? Nope. It's an assumption of guilt. And they're paid for their harassment. So they're not concerned with innocence or guilt of a victim. Let's be honest, if they were, right? Wouldn't somebody talk to you at least? Like, hey man, before I really kind of destroy this guy, first of all, you're not going to get me in that position. I ain't working that job. If a charitable and respectful society, like the Freemasons, practices organized gang stalking on the side, should we assume the victim deserves such treatment? No. When people take the law into their own hands, any notion of law is destroyed altogether. I should emphasize that the majority of organized gang stalking is not positive nor beneficial to society, despite any charitable works they may perform. Likewise, such societies only remain respectable because any and all the evidence of their ill wrongdoing is conveniently eliminated and destroyed. But us, hey man, we're going to put you under a microscope. Not anymore. Revenge for a real or imagined offense, true or false, horrible crime, whatever, silencing a corporate whistleblower, defecting from a cult, a perceived enemy of a group or organization, knowing too much, all examples of possible motivations. It's not positive. It's negative. The stalkers, for the most part, are everyday citizens. Oh, that's why it's so hard to grasp sometimes, right? What is the ultimately behind it? Who or what is ultimately behind it? And we need to get more detail than we will. But corporations, government organizations, corrupt military air force, some police, corrupted cops, societies, fraternities, orders, religious cults, destructive New Age groups, concerned community groups, vigilante groups, criminal organizations, volunteer police organizations, etc. Examples of their harassment. property damage, death threats, followed by vehicle or on foot, loitering, anonymous false accusations of friends, family, neighbors, character assassination, smear campaigns, blacklisting, psychological abuse, blah, blah, on and on, etc. The key is the frequency, the consistency. Just like the other methods. Let me give you an example. This is called sensitization. Sensitizing people. People show you a pin everywhere you go. And their attitude is really rude and crazy. Right? You don't know. Never met them. You just wonder what's going on. Imagine that happens every day for a week, for a month, for a year. And that makes you have a fear with a pin. Because it's an example. I mean, I can do a better one than what's written here. I really can. At one point, I wore a Superman hat. And I started seeing some anomalies. Like, I'm going on a flight with just very few people. And there just happens to be another guy with a Superman hat. All right, that can happen. But then with the holy spiritual wisdom, and knowing how they already communicate, and knowing what their perps feel and look like, hey, man. So it could be something like that. There's all kinds of stuff. So the whole point is they can sensitize a person to items by correlating that with the harassment. And then that makes you have anxiety about a pin. See what I'm saying? In this case, a pin is anchored with your attempted state of fear. It can be anything. An open car door, trunk, pencil, cell phone, notebook, computer, medical mask, clothes of the same color, anything. Every time I go somewhere during the day, an anchoring thread is made by a car or truck with a door or doors that get open, slammed, trunks open, and no one's even in it, sitting in someone's driveway along my route, trunks open. This is a sign of organized stalking. So again, this stuff does exist. If it does exist, it's criminal activity. If it's a criminal act and it undermines the Constitution, of course it would be done in ways that are not so easy to display. There's some other stuff. I'm not going to get too much more into this, but cyber stalking, cyber harassment, this is also related to the group of harassing behavior occurring via internet online. Trolling, spamming, often including poor deludes, verbal assaults, character assassination. I just posted cyber stalking, the example of somebody who was posing as a target individual, totally flipped on me, and then had divisionary tactics to try to smear my connection with the Patriot Hour, with a great patriot and a great group. Divisionary tactics. If you have a website devoted to organized stalking, you may have people emailing you to flame you or claiming that they are victims and asking for support with the intention of discrediting you. So I got a group, Gangstalking Mind Control Justice, on Facebook. And do you know how many fake profiles that were just created like months ago are wanting me to approve them to join? Get out of here. I gotta mention this one. It's called directed conversation. Directed conversation is a term referring to a stalking tactic using strangers' conversations to both intimidate and to convey to the victim they are under surveillance. During directed conversation, two or more stalkers will approach near to the target and engage in normal conversation with one another. The conversation is purposely made at a level so that the victim can adequately hear what is being said. During a directed conversation, personal information concerning the victim is inserted into the speech and emphasized by the stalkers in a fashion that most non-victims would not be able to discern as harassment. The purpose of a directed conversation is to harass a victim, as well as make the victim appear mentally unstable should they attempt to complain about such abuse. These are conversations that complete strangers will have out in public relating to the target and their personal situations. Here's an example. They will repeat things a target said in their home or on the phone. They will drop very personal details into the conversation that can only be related to the target, unless, of course, you adequately inform your folks. You're at police department as well. Electronic harassment is the use of technological devices to spy on or cause harm to targeted individuals. Example, exposure to high magnetic fields have been shown to induce hallucinations. So I'm not going to go into too much of the tech. I'm going to keep it basic here. Gaslighting is a psychological technique used by members of these groups. The purpose of gaslighting is to make a victim question his or her sanity by doing little things to try to make the target think they're going crazy. Gaslighting is simply trying to convince someone that they are crazy or imagining things. Example, if you mention organized gang stalking to someone who knows about it, participating in it, and they tell you you're crazy or paranoid, they're gaslighting you. That's what happened here when I was confronting the organized noise harassment at apartment 23 next to me. Nashville, Illinois, Village Apartments 2. I confronted her about it. Huh? What? I mean, I can't make this shit up. What a liar. You know a liar. You know? You can tell. And when I called the officer and finally started a case on this incident and these incidents, she tried to say to the officer that she thinks it's PTSD. That's why I'm acting up. The officer responded somewhere along the lines of, you think he has PTSD or you know? That doesn't sound that convincing. Or something of that nature. And I'm like, wow. That cop, the Holy Spirit touched his heart. It is a known fact that the individuals involved in organized stalking, technological harassment, crime syndicates are also involved in criminal racketeering, sexual exploitation, human trafficking operations via the criminal utilization of monitoring, satellite technology, etc., where these criminal individuals are illegally profiting off technological sexual exploitation of victims. So, I mean, they're using the technology in all the wrong ways, right? And then they had the right people in place so they never got caught, found out. Why is Epstein Island just now getting caught? There's bones around that island of children. They've been doing this a while. Too long. Any amount of time's too long. The fact is, the manipulated individuals involved in organized stalking crime repeatedly and deliberately convey things to victims through symbolic references and numbers, which is also an attempt to cause targeted victims to falsely appear to be exhibiting signs of paranoid schizophrenia, such as delusions of reference. When the victims attempt to explain that they're being harassed by individuals holding their arms out of a vehicle windows or making other gestures to them, the arm gesture harassment has been continuously documented by victims and uploaded to the internet, but the whole point of that rant was to say, yeah, it does sound out like, well, people are, come on, man. Well, if a person's claiming to be targeted, check their IQ, check what they know. What is their understanding of why they're targeting? You'll know real quick if you're dealing with a perp or not. Okay, illegal surveillance involving setting up audio, some visual surveillance of the target, bugging the target's phone, surveillance in the target's residence, listening to cell phone and hardline conversations. This also helps to build a profile of the target. It can be used later for psychological attacks against the target via parroting indirected conversations. Examples of illegal surveillance? Yeah, no. Okay, mimicry. Mimicry or mirroring is a specialized form of harassment in which stalkers publicly imitate every movement made by the victim. This is trying to copy things in the target's life, leaving when they do, dressing like they dress, throwing out the garbage, going to the bathroom, doing whatever the target is doing. This is all designed to be psychological warfare so that the target again feels like they are under observation at all times. I'm going to end it on this one. We're at 40 minutes. Noise harassment campaign. A noise harassment campaign is an orchestrated effort to produce stress in a victim through prolonged exposure to significant noise levels. A noise campaign can range from multiple neighbors routinely playing loud music at very inconvenient times, individual stalkers with air horns, fireworks, organized repair work that involves a high level of noise, anything from loud vehicles, loud mufflers, doors slamming, above, below you, around you, garbage disposal, slamming, hammering, intentionally slamming their car doors loudly, loud stereos at specific times, loud coughing, pot slamming, water running, cupboard doors being slammed. It just goes on. And I said I was going to end it on that. I'm going to end it on sensitization. Sensitization is a psychological term referring to the forced association between a stimuli and a corresponding reaction. Members of these groups use sensitization to psychologically abuse a victim. For example, if a stalker constantly harasses a victim while wearing a blue baseball cap, over time, the victim will begin to believe anyone wearing a blue baseball cap potentially may believe anyone wearing a blue baseball cap is a stalker and is coming to harass. Sensitization. This is getting targets sensitive to an everyday stimuli, colors, patterns, everyday actions, all for psychological stress and warfare. Isn't this sad this is existing? But didn't you guys check history? Nazi Germany? How many Nazi scientists did we bring back? You know what I mean? Why in 1913 did we get a central bank when this country fought central banks up to that point? Cabal exists, folks. So does Gitmo. I gotta keep going. It's just meant. Street theater is a term used to describe the odd actions and behaviors that stalkers sometimes and neighbors do in public, an attempt to rile the victim. Such behavior often borders on the extremely bizarre and is aimed at blurring the boundaries between reality, fantasy, and the minds of the victims. This is running into people that are acting very unusual, or people that are putting on a show or production known as street theater. This could be as minor as public rudeness or people acting out a harassment skit. There will usually be someone nearby to see how you react to it. This is again looking for your weaknesses and reactions. If you show an adverse reaction, they will try to embellish on this and use it against you. Street theater is harassment skits done by strangers and neighbors who have been recruited into these stalking, unconstitutional harassment groups programs. Examples of street theater: baiting, briding, color harassment, directed conversation, blah, blah, blah. But you'll go out and it's just there. I mean, in street theater, all these different techniques we talked about can be utilized. Synchronized harassment activities, neighbors arriving at the same time, leaving home at the same time, strangers and neighbors leaving or arriving home, all that stuff, or, they are leaving and arriving at the same time. This synchronized activity is one of the main techniques used in harassing a target, and it is repeated. Neighbors arriving at the exact same time. Blah, 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 blah. Harassment telephone calls me. Blah, 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 blah. The main motivation behind it is, again, if the target complains about this type of harassment, he or she may be perceived as having some kind of delusional mental illness. But it's these people. They didn't know what country they were in. Signals and symbols. I think when on the street or in cars patrolling, they use baseball or Stasi-like signals. This can include like tapping the side of their nose, corner of the eye, brushing the back of their hair. The infamous double blink. Members of these organized stalking harassment groups will communicate with each other on the street by using signals. Below are some examples. Yeah, they will actually have perps signal each other. Like, let's say you got one that's infiltrated you. They can signal to the other one like, yeah. Slander, they'll go behind the target's back, tell lies about him. Often the lies consist of a target being into something illegal or something dangerous or needs to be watched for some vague reason. They will say the target is a prostitute, drug dealer, crazy, terrorist, racist, pedophile, etc. Sleep deprivation. Noise harassment campaigns depriving the target of sleep is a really good way of leaving the target stressed out. Also a good way of leaving them disoriented, functioning less than 100%. Then the targets can be baited easier into reacting in public or getting into a car accident. Thus, okay, so let's say it's been 3 days and man, I'm not getting much REM sleep because noise be happening at the wrong time, bro. And I'm somewhat of a light sleeper, so it's not that difficult. Um, and let's say I'm going 2 or 3 days, I'm just really without sleep. I walk outside, and these guys in code screw with me. You could see how easy it is for a patriot to finally get fed up and act out in a way that they will attempt to use against them. Corporate stalking, yeah, that exists. Intimate infiltration. This is where members of these groups will go out of their way to get into a target's life. They will try to form friendships with targets. They will try to form intimate relationships with targets. They will get close to people that are affiliated with targets years before the target ever realizes they are targets. They will try to get into a target's life. Jesus. If they can't get into your life, but you have a best friend or a significant other that might just be a member of the group, the same goes for siblings and people that enter our lives. So again, if they can't really, you don't want to come over here, let's show them how powerful we are. Again, this kind of stuff is not used on everyday Americans. I understand that. For most of you, you're like, huh? No, it's going to be used against the ones that see the dark syndicate criminals and can read their overall agenda to a degree that we know it has none of our benefit involved, but just a very small amount of people. You already see it. How could we have technology that could produce abundance while we have a bank that we can't even vote for, non-auditable? We can't even audit it. The Fed Reserve's a private, owned, ran bank. It's already visible that this class and cabal exist. Why do you think you're broke financially? Not ever. So, all right. So, isolation. For this harassment to be successful, it's important to be able to isolate the target from friends, family members, coworkers, even spouses if they're not already involved. And you know, the first line of that is simply you trying to tell them what's happening. If you don't have a good family with a good backbone who really can feel your heart and soul, thank God I got that family. Bro, that isolation has happened to some of us way worse than myself. And I pray for these people, and I pray that these networks and these criminals are stopped. To accomplish this isolation, many methods are used, included but not limited to slander, lies, fake files, sabotage, anything that will get the target into a situation where they have no support system but them. Which really, bro, I'll take no support over their support. Their support is fucking bipolar, schizophrenic, psychosociopathic. Profiling. Targets will be observed and profiled long before they ever become aware they are targeted by this sort of harassment. Profiles will be created on targets by following them, following people close to them, breaking into their homes, going through their stuff, listening to their calls, hacking into their computers, gathering information from friends and family, seeing where they like to shop and eat, which is a lot easier. When you think about it today, they don't need burly people for a lot of this. What are their perceived weaknesses as well? What things they like, what things they don't like. What can you bribe them with? What can you blackmail them with? How can you bully them? This is like the bully guide. This is the Patriot Guide against the bullies. How can they best be controlled? This will be used to put together a profile of the target and then to get them into situations to their detriment. I couldn't even pronounce that word at first. Random encounters. This will be people on the streets who you randomly and unexpectedly run into. It looks completely natural, not to me, but it seems to be a random encounter, not to professionals. They might just ask your phone number after engaging in a conversation, ask you out, just ask what you got going on. These unconstitutional surveillance harassment networks will do anything from small talk to lengthier conversations to engage the target, all with the purpose of finding out something about you or even just getting you to do something or infiltration. If you're in a relationship and you got somebody true, they'll try to ruin that. if they flagged you as a whistleblower, be that the CIA or whoever, as a threat of the organization, again, these are the people that offered JFK the plan to destroy a boat full of people or plane and blame it on the country they want to invade. It's called Project Northwoods. Declassified. Look it up. The perpetrators of organized gang stalking are serious criminals who do great damage. The acts that are done are very serious crimes by any measure. Organized gang stalking is a highly criminal campaign, one directed at a targeted individual, one that aims to destroy an innocent person's life through covert harassment, malicious slander, carefully crafted and executed psychological assaults. Organized gang stalking deprives the targeted individual of their basic constitutional rights and destroys their freedom, setting a stage for the destruction of a person or country. This is where they become the enemy combatants of the United States of America and the U.S. sovereign citizens and the U.S. military. It deprives the basic constitutional rights, destroys their freedom, setting a stage for the destruction of a person socially, mentally, physically, through ceaseless assault that pervades almost all areas of a person's life. I'm going to leave it at 52 minutes. I'll do a part 2. This is what the chief is about to get and the police department. And don't think I'm stopping for my hometown or my home. Well, it's not my hometown. I'm not stopping in my now hometown. Bro, it's on. Like, this is my life, is to explain and expose this stuff. So this is just, and Trump's doing his thing, but while he's dealing with that top tier, I'm dealing with these bottom feeders down here. And we're all fighting a good fight. So yeah, there you go. And the next video, I'll actually follow up with an actual court case that was fought and won. A targeted individual fought and won a court case not too long ago in California. So, quick recap. I was harassed today. I found cigarette in my house that's not mine. I don't smoke cigarettes. I smelled smoke in my room. Cigarette smoke. Not the first time. Today, I'm overdue for laundry. I go outside, and somebody mentions someone being a dirty bitch regarding dirty laundry. Okay, if that happened once in a blue moon, fine. But when you're a targeted individual, you realize that that's the way they communicate, because if they did it directly, they'd be behind bars right now. That's okay. We'll take our time, and we'll do it. But to the police, to officers of the law, to military, to countrymen and women, our awareness is the solution to the ignorance that has pervaded this country for too long. Evaded this country for too long. It is time we stand together in light and love. Be a wise, compassionate. Don't be a bully, but don't take shit from bullies, especially organized criminal network ones. Love and light. It's too true. Your patriot, hip-hop, galactic rapper, bro. Hit me up. Shout outs to Patriot Hour. Shout out to Patriot Soapbox Live. Shout out to all my Patriots who keep it alive. Shout out to Michael. I'm out. Love you guys. Peace.